Welcome everyone to the PIPCAST 3000. It is a bi-weekly podcast where we talk about Fallout and gaming news and all kinds of other stuff we feel like talking about and hopefully interacting with you, the community, as we go. And today is episode 24. We're getting really close to the 1 year mark of this podcast, and we were just talking about it earlier. I'm pretty excited. But with me here is my amazing co-host, BADCompanySarge.
Hi, I still sound the same after 24 episodes.
Yeah. And me, Caedo Genesis, and we're going to be talking about some interesting news stuff going on today. Most of it is
depressing.
Depressing and or controversial topics. Yeah. We got a couple of good ones in there, but I for you chemists out there, there's a little bit of NaCl going on here. I'm a little salty after playing some Phoenix Point, so that's going to be bleeding into the PIPCast, I'm sure. And I'm going to rant about it probably first thing. But first I want to go over what we're going to talk about, which is Cyberpunk 2077 monetization for their multiplayer, which they're kind of keeping under wraps. They just announced it and then didn't really say anything. The Dead Cell Studio Motion Twin splitting. The Star Citizen raising over $250 million in spite of being early access. Riot paying $10 million to female employees after harassment cases. 76's updates and free. This is like the positive topic of our list.
Yeah.
The Phoenix Point Microsoft Store issue. I'm gonna actually bring that one up to the top.
Oh.
And the Borderlands 3, because I'm gonna complain about it anyway.
Yep.
The Borderlands 3 Malawan and Blacksite. Malawan Blacksite and Heist DLCs,
which is also positive.
Yes, that is positive. One which already came out, and one which we're waiting for in the following weeks.
I think it's the 19th it comes out, so
just next week.
Couple of weeks. It's going to be the 8th when this comes out, and it's the 7th today. So about
And then we're also going to talk about Facebook acquiring Beat Saber and its studio, which I don't know how I feel about that. We'll read into it more. And finally, our Fallout/gaming topic that we're going to be talking about are what are good game difficulties in Fallout? Because we have a nice variety of games. They have a variety of difficulties and how those are implemented. And we're going to be talking about those things. So if you want any sources of the information that we're talking about, those are linked down in the description, as well as some of our various notes. I kind of try to include the things that are talking points that have references to other things. So let's get started.
I just want to quickly point out the fact that I did not click that sodium chloride was salt at first.
Oh yeah.
You said NaCl and I thought this was going in a completely different direction. But I learned something new in the PIPCast. Isn't that good?
Yeah, that's why I was making a chemist joke.
I got the sodium chloride. I was like, NaCl was sodium chloride, obviously, without having any idea what sodium chloride actually is.
Yeah. But, and I learned that from Wasteland 2. Like, I'm not gonna pretend like I'm a smart dude.
That's what I'm here for.
Actually, let's start with the Cyberpunk 2077 thing. You linked that, and I've been talking a lot already for the intro. So, if you want to start off on that, and then I'll follow up with the Phoenix Point thing.
Yes, well, fortunately, I'm an expert on this, so I'll be able to go ahead and know. There's not a lot actually said, but there is a chance Cyberpunk 27 will have some forms of monetization involved, because there's a rumoured multiplayer mode which should be coming out as free DLC after the launch. And I've seen this kind of reported and commented on in a few different ways, from people being like, all praise CD Projekt Red, and just that kind of whole angle, and everything perfect, to others doing the opposite extreme of, screw you guys, stop putting microtransactions in your game, single player rules, woo! The actual news is there might be some microtransactions of some sort in the multiplayer mode of Cyberpunk 2077, which isn't that bad, providing they do it well. Right. And there is a quote, which is the most important thing I need to find. Where is it? Where's this quote? There's a specific sentence that is said, The monetization would be wise and good value for money. So they're at least going to try and make it not a complete rip-off. But that obviously is somewhat objective.
Yeah.
Because we've all dealt with monetization in games where some people will be like, oh yeah, I'm willing to pay 20 quid for a skin, of course I am, it's so cheap, I have all the money in the world. To people like myself who just don't spend money at all.
You meant, did you say subjective or objective?
No, it's subjective.
That's what
There's
meant.
one right answer. One right answer, the rest of you are wrong.
Okay. That'll do it.
Yeah. This is a very short news topic though, but I figured it's worth just mentioning, just for the people who have heard this, to first off say, there's not that much known for certain yet, hence we're not going into huge detail, and it's probably not going to be something terrible, plus it appears it's only going to be for the multiplayer, so the single player, which is what the vast majority of the Cyberpunk hopefuls and fans, I suppose, are interested in, is likely not going to be changed by this.
Yeah. And that's good to also just not put developers on a pedestal.
Oh god, yeah.
And I'm sure that would be a whole topic. That could be a whole topic, like Fallout related or gaming related or something like that, because we have so much experience with.
I was actually considering suggesting that, and I was like, no, not now. I would get very angry on it.
Yeah. We didn't even go into the frickin' tip of the day. My bad.
No, we skipped that over. It's fine. We'll use it next time.
We talked about it. Okay, we can use it next time. Next time. Are we ready to move on to the salt?
Yeah, let's get some sodium chloride up in this place.
I'm gonna be salty. Alright, so Phoenix Point came out last week. It came out on Tuesday, I believe, which gave me personally plenty of time to make something because the developers sent me a review key. Not only did they send me a review key, but they sent me a backer build like way prior, which I gave no time. I've talked about this already in previous PIPCAST episodes. I gave that less than an hour, the backer build. But when the complete game came out, it had, a full tutorial. Of course, it didn't include all the nuance of the game. It's definitely a lot to get used to, especially if you play any turn-based strategy game. But this is by the original creator of the XCOM franchise. This is the one that came out all the way back in '94 on MS-DOS. And since Firaxis took on the XCOM license and did extremely well with it, Julian Gollop, who is the original creator, decided to be like, okay, I'm going to make snapshot games. We make turn-based strategy games. They have a couple under their belt too, but they decided to make Phoenix Point, which is just very much in that niche of saving the universe or saving the world with your soldiers that are extremely immortal. So the news topic, I'm gonna share the news topic before I get salty. Okay. Maybe it'll propel me a little bit. It came out on the Epic Store to start with, and one of the big points of contention with their community is the game was initially backed on Fig. It was crowdfunded, and then they moved to Epic exclusivity, and of course they get more money out of the deal that way anyway.
Yeah.
But, of course, when developers decide to do that, their community is like, what the heck? We backed, assuming that it was going to be released in this way on this platform, and
I will say,
it's not.
Just as a small side point, if you're backing something, don't put too many expectations on it. Especially on very financial and corporate stuff such as this. Like, if someone says they're making an FPS game and you back it, you can probably assume it's going to be an FPS game, but don't go into the very specifics of, oh, well, I thought this was going to be A, B, C, D, E, F, G, X, Y, and Z.
So anyway, it came out on the Epic Store, but it was supposed to come out on the Microsoft Store as well, and Game Pass, at least for PC, and then consoles later at the beginning of next year. But there was issues. It was rumored that it was on Microsoft's side, and now it was actually, there was a statement put out by Snapshot, which is the developers of the game, saying, hey, we're excited to see so many of you playing Phoenix Point. The response to our launch has been overwhelming, and we're absolutely thrilled to see the community discussing the game. We know some of you are waiting for our release on the Microsoft Xbox Game Pass for PC and the Microsoft Windows Store. We want to update you on the status of that. The fact is, we dropped the ball. We were exceedingly busy getting the game itself ready, and being inexperienced with the Game Pass and Microsoft Store, we simply had not properly prepared the groundwork to get the game released on time on those platforms. They're just like, we messed up. I don't think there was any justification for it whatsoever either.
I will give them credit for at least saying we dropped the ball and admitting that they screwed up. Like,
yeah.
It would have been easy to give a corporate answer of, due to technical difficulties, there has been a delay to this specific feature of our game, yada yada yada. But at least have put very clearly, you literally quoted it, the fact is we dropped the ball. That's at least in their official response, which is nice.
And everybody has their reasons when it comes to regarding the Epic Games Store and stuff like that. I personally have run the topic into the ground. We've talked about it on this podcast many a time. I have no problem with the platform as long as the game I want to play is available to play. And the game that I paid for, I get. Like, that's really all it comes down to. I got a PlayStation and I have to play certain games on that, and that's like not much different. It's a mild inconvenience, but on the PC side, you don't have to buy new hardware.
Yeah.
If I want to play Horizon Zero Dawn, I have to buy a console. Put things in perspective is all I'm saying, because
you don't have to use the Epic Games Store. We're not vilifying it, but you don't have to use it if you don't want to. If you do feel like, it seems a bit risky for whatever reason, if you are skeptical, you're not going to be forced to use it, okay? And we're not going to go, why aren't you using it? Screw you! We're just...
I'm not that guy. Yeah. I'm not that guy. But also, people telling me, which it happened recently, people telling me, how my image is going to look by using a game from the Epic Store. I don't care. It's about the game. You don't see the Epic logo anywhere when I'm playing the game or streaming the game. Again, it's about the games for me. It's not about where you play them. Man, Mass Effect? Holy crap. I still have to get that on Origin. I hate Origin. I hate it so much, but I love Mass Effect. And that's not going to stop me if I have that itch to play it. It's a train wreck of a topic, isn't it? Anyway, let's get into the salty things I was feeling about Phoenix Point. I'm going to start this by saying I've put 70 plus hours into Phoenix Point since I got the review copy. I can safely say that I enjoy the heck out of this game. However, some things are severely imbalanced in it still. One of the prolific Long War players, he was talking about the return fire mechanic, which is currently pretty busted, and the dash mechanics and different will abilities not having any cooldowns whatsoever. So you can use your entire will pool to just dash across the map if you want to. The will is separate from your action points. The thing that got me the most, the thing that frustrated me the most, like everything was kind of workaroundable, except for what I referred to Sarge as the showstopper, which is the Pandoran layers. You're defending the world from these creatures called the Pandorans, and if there's nearby havens that are getting attacked, you learn of these I guess settlements that the Pandorans have, or the spawneries or whatever. And the layers are the most time-consuming and difficult of all of them, especially when banshees start, or not banshees, sirens mind control whenever they feel like it, enemies. But the objective is you have to kill this little hatchery thing. It very much looks like a StarCraft structure tucked away inside of the tile set. So in order to find it, you need to run all the way around the map and find those little nooks in the map and actually be able to look down into it to see where this thing is. Yeah. And these maps are huge. Enemies spawn at a constant rate. Where you have 2 to 3 enemies spawning in for every one you kill, basically. So you have the time limit of getting to this location in the base to destroy this hatchery before you just get completely overwhelmed and you run out of both ammo and will and stuff like that. They don't want you to stick around inside of this layer very long. However, since there are faux versions of these pits where the hatchery would be, or spawnery would be. I spent 45 minutes in one single mission, going to one corner of the map, fighting my way there, to find out that both of the spots were empty, and the other corner of the map had the spawnery. So, and I ended up losing a unit in the process to one of my snipers, because also another issue is that the Tritons, which are the stealth sniper pistol wielding type units, if you cripple their right arm, the arm that wields the pistol, they can still use it somehow, and that's probably an issue too. So instead of crippling their arms, you should just shoot the pistol and blow it up, because then they won't be able to hit you with it. That resulted in my sniper dying, miscalculating what actually worked in the game. Anyway, yeah, that made me salty, like really salty, right before we started recording, because I just like dumped that whole 40 plus minutes of gameplay to restart it later and try again, knowing that it's in the other corner. Anyway, Phoenix Point is fun.
Yes.
There's just moments that make me super salty and need to take a break. There's only so many games that I allow to stress me out. And one of them is like Devil May Cry. I love it, but it also makes me angry. And then when it gets to that point to where I'm like seeing red or going cross-eyed, I just, take a break. Or right before that point, anyway. Anywho, bonus tip. Make sure to take breaks if you're getting pissed off.
Yeah.
That's the tip of the day for this one. So I spent a ton of time talking about Phoenix Point and also spilling my drink. So what happened with the Dead Cells studio? You can explain this better than I can, Sarge.
Yes, I totally can, because I definitely remember all of the video that I watched the other week or whatever it came out. No, there was Inside Gaming did a very good video on the Dead Cells studio, Motion Twin, and how it's split up now into two different studios. For those of you who don't know, Dead Cells was an incredibly popular and successful indie game. It's made tons for the studio, like the most successful thing any of them have ever worked on, I believe. Like, it was huge. There's still plenty of people playing it today. You've probably seen the game. So after the success of the studio, what normally happens when a game does really well is you hire in more people, you expand, you make a bigger game, etc, etc, etc. That's how most game studios work. They're looking for their big break to become AAA or whatever. But this indie studio has gone a bit more indie, and they split up into two different studios, the names of which I don't have to hand. But the reason why they've done this is because some of the people want to kind of stick with Dead Cells and be in this game that is making tons of money and doing amazing and everything, and the others want to go and be more of the standard old indie creative route that they've taken, and a big part of it is the management. Because a normal game studio, or basically any normal work environment, as most of you will know it, has people at the bottom, then they've got some managers, then they've got managers, then there's people above them, so on, so you get like Mr. CEO earns $500,000 a year, whatever.
Yeah.
However, their studio was running with everyone equal. Everyone made the same amount, they made sure everyone was working the same, so nobody was like slacking off, but also nobody was doing crunch. It was like, cool, we'll work like 8 hours this day, we'll all just work the 8 hours this day, and then we're done. And everybody also got a say in what each other was doing. So even if you're not on the art team, you'd still look at like a creature design or something, and your input would be listened to and might be acted upon. Which is really good for making a creative project and seeing it from different perspectives. Because any creative will know that if you just do things your own way, there's going to be people out there who will not get it at all. It's just not going to appeal to everyone. So getting all the different perspectives in was good. It did also mean that the game took them ages to make, because they constantly kept tweaking things. And the studio split because some of the people want to stick with the old way, where they're all just equals and just working together almost as a group of friends, and the other ones want to be more of a standard traditional game studio. So I thought it was just an interesting little thing to bring up. I don't have any big opinions or revelations on this. But I would actually say check out the video that we've put in the description if you want to hear more of that, because they did a really good piece on it. And it's just an interesting way to look at it, because I know a lot of us nowadays are looking at game studios as these huge companies. Like EA gets a lot of flack for being just massive corporate, and some gaming personalities in the industry are seen as celebrities, like Hideo Kojima. He puts his name on a game, it's like, oh my god, it's a Kojima game, kawaii, ha! Yeah, I know one of us is guilty of that.
That's me. Talking about putting creators on a pedestal, or putting developers on a pedestal. Yeah,
but it was really nice to get kind of a little inside look into this studio and see the way they work in a very different way. And I'd argue it's also a way similar to something that we're more similar to. Because as small YouTubers, we're not exactly on a corporate hierarchy here. We're just kind of, hey, Mr. Person, want to come over to the PIPCAST kind of thing?
Yeah.
And it's all just like, buddy and all of that. Because we're not making millions. Although as soon as we're making millions, I'm taking you down, kid! I'm taking you down!
Let's do this. Yeah. On the note of indie devs staying indie, which I think is a pretty... Dead Cells got so much recognition as an indie title that I think this is actually the smarter route, because they now have a household name, kind of like other indie developers like Supergiant Games and stuff like that, where they are allowed to work on their own things and still work with their own team who, you know, knows each other, knows how to work with each other and stuff like that, and not having that trickle down information they're like that the big corporate the publishers have.
Yeah.
Where they're saying, like, we need to implement this somehow. Do it. And instead, it's everybody working together. At least they were smart to separate out to be able to do that, to still work on the same things together. I think that's pretty much that topic. Indie devs are cool. Support your indie devs.
I thought it was just an interesting little thing to go over, and it strikes a nice balance between the very positive and very negative stuff we'll be talking about. Just a nice, that's interesting story.
Yep.
And something else which I suppose you could say, that's interesting, is the $250 million that Star Citizen has raised. Caedo, that's more money than both of us combined, plus our entire families for like 10 generations.
I could retire my parents.
Yeah.
I could retire my sister's family.
Hold on.
I could retire my dog that I don't own yet.
Yeah, you could buy the dog and immediately retire it. That's crazy. I was going to try and do a calculation to work out how many months I could get by on $250 million, and I've realised I don't even know how many zeros are in $250 million, because it is so big of a number that I don't think I've ever had to write it down. It's crazy.
That would be seven.
Jeez, okay. So, oh my god. That would cover me for 454,554.45 recurring months I could live for off of that money.
You could afford a cyborg body too.
I could also afford a cyborg body. I'd have to afford a cyborg body, or else I'd be dead before like 10% of that. God,
that's what I would go for. I'd start funding cybernetics.
Yeah. So, I suppose we should actually talk about what is being funded, because there will be people out there who have never heard of Star Citizen, or, like me, when I heard this, I was like, oh, I vaguely remember the name of that, because it's not a game that's out yet. It's in early access at $250 million. God damn it, that's so much money. So much money. So, yep. Okay, so Star Citizen is a bit difficult to describe it exactly, but it's kind of like a massive space MMO. Like, huge. Bigger than anything before. And it is out in early access, so it is possible to play it right now. But there's still so much development going on, and it's been going on for, I think, 9 years now? It was towards the start of the decade, I think it was starting being worked on. God, I can't even remember, but I know the dev at the time was famous for some other old space game. No, I can't remember what the game was. But yeah, there's been a ridiculous amount of money sunk into this for a game which isn't out yet, and I believe it's in like Alpha 3.0 or something. So it's not even in like beta or anything. It is...
Wow.
Yeah, it's probably a good another decade or so before it comes into release. And whenever any game is being worked on for this long, it starts being called development hell, because games should not take that long to make. Even like huge games. If you spend like 5 or 6 years on a game, that's seen as, wow, that is so much time to be spending on it. So the fact they've spent so much time and have almost 2.5 million backers who have spent $250 million is crazy. And there's lots of different opinions on this, with some people going, oh, well, I've spent X amount of money so far, so I should keep on supporting it so the game comes out, which is the whole sunk cost fallacy of just pour more money in so you don't lose what you originally had, despite the fact it's already gone. But then there are others who are like, okay, well, I spent like $60 on this game, and I've been playing it for like 500 hours despite the fact it's in early access, so I'm perfectly fine with it. Even if it doesn't come out, I've had my money worth, which I think is a good way to see it.
So, I want to say that obviously the sunk cost fallacy is pretty hardcore with this game. It shows like how bad, I guess, this kind of thing can be too. Like waiting and waiting and waiting to have something complete.
Yeah.
Like something else that we cover and talk about a lot.
Yeah.
But it's not at that level yet, which is still mind-boggling, like how long people have waited for Star Citizen to become the thing that they supported it for, and supported it for years, potentially a decade. Like that is insanity. I know MMOs are their own beast, but holy crap, dude.
Well, here's the thing as well. I happen to have the list of most expensive video games up on my computer right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Star Citizen isn't out yet, so it's not on the list. But can you guess which game is, in terms of developer cost, I'm going for? Because we're not going marketing just yet, because there's not even been marketing properly for Star Citizen yet, because it's not come out. But just in terms of development cost, what do you think is the most expensive game?
GTA 5?
That is second.
Ah.
Yeah, combined with marketing, and I think even with inflation, it ends up on top. But in terms of development, it was Star Wars The Old Republic at $200 million. Less than Star Citizen, you'll notice. Like a quarter less than Star Citizen.
That's so absurd.
Yep.
Yay, context. Thank you, Sarge. Thank you for that.
That's okay. And GTA, in fact, the total cost, marketing and development, is $265 million.
And they were both finished games.
Yeah, GTA took less time and is finished already. And Star Citizen's going to make over $265 million in terms of Kickstarters. It's like not that far away. Like the amount a week ago was where's the precise amount? $251,061,311. It's going to end up being even more, and it's crazy just how much it's making.
Man, I wish. Just sometimes I wish that diehard fans, like, you can love, but you also need to be critical sometimes.
I'll say on the flip side as well, you can hate games yourself if you really want to, but don't buzzkill everyone else. Turns out going to the extreme either way is really good. Try and have at least some point of a middle ground on your views. The extreme viewpoint is almost always a bad viewpoint to have.
Yeah, because we talked about like death threats towards developers and stuff like that too. Like that is way too far off the deep end. Like people shouldn't even be doing that. But it happens for some reason.
Yeah.
And it's another one of those situations where it stops being about the game, and you know, it's I don't know. It's dumb. I think it's dumb. That's just my own humble opinion as someone random on the internet. Whose opinion doesn't matter to anyone else, usually. Or shouldn't. My opinion shouldn't matter to anyone else, unless somebody asks. Like I think that's a key thing too. It's like, I'll throw my opinion out there, but I don't assume people will take it to heart. If you do, I'm sorry.
You say, as we're doing this podcast, where we're giving our opinion on news stories.
Right. That's not my plan. Like, we're just trying to have a conversation too. Like, I can throw my opinion at you and you can throw it back in the comments too. Like, that's what I prefer, having some sort of dialogue instead of, you know, argument. Arguments are lame. Anyway, it's a little bit of a tangent thing going on today.
Tangents are good.
All right with that. Yeah. Speaking of, we got to launch into the developers doing horrible things to their workers.
Yeah.
I was tempted to delete that one actually, but we'll just talk about it, I guess, because this is the first time, like, on my entire channel, I think, that I'll be referring to sexual harassment.
Good. I mean,
I don't know if that's good though. I don't know if that's good. So, PC Gamer reports that Riot, the developers of League of Legends, will pay $10 million to settle gender discrimination lawsuit. The settlement announced in August is still to be finalized in court. I'm quoting the article here. League of Legends studio Riot Games announced an agreement to settle a class action lawsuit filed against it in 2018 over pervasive sexism and gender-based discrimination at the studio. The studio said at the time that its internal investigation found that gender discrimination in pay or promotion, sexual harassment, and retaliation are not systemic issues at Riot, but acknowledged that some rioters have had experiences that did not live up to our values or cultures. So we had an example of a developer sucking it up and saying they dropped the ball. And now we also have a developer or corporate representative saying PR bullcrap. It's really easy to tell the difference between the two.
Yeah. I would say in this case as well, that I've heard nothing about anyone actually individually suffering consequences for harassment. It does appear to just be the company paying out $10 million, which sounds like a lot, but Riot, as we said, makes League of Legends, so they're rolling in the bank.
And it's split between approximately 1,000 women.
Yep.
So if we do some quick maths.
10 grand a piece, isn't it?
It's hard to add.
I mean, you just knock off 3 zeros.
I'm trying to count all the zeros on the calculator here. Yeah, so 10,000 per person. I can't do quick maths with zeros apparently. So Los Angeles Times reported today that as of the article, that it will cost Riot at least $10 million, which will be divided between approximately 1,000 women employed at the studio between November 2014 and the finalization of the settlement. That says right there, if that's true, that it was going on for 4 years.
Yep.
And that's an issue in any office setting. It was because it was both representation in the games that I think it was representation in the games that they make, which is League of Legends, obviously, and also harassing coworkers.
Yeah.
And man, that is just a mess for them to try to sweep under the rug, which it looks like that's what they're trying to do.
Yeah, well, there's semi-regularly stories like this, not just in gaming, but everywhere. And it is always tries to be hush-hush and people kind of keep stum about it and all that. But it does just kind of suck, and I think the message more than anything we want to bring home is that developers are people, and be nice to people.
Yeah, treat people the way you want to be treated.
Yeah, you don't need to be in games development to know that being harassed at work in any form, but especially like in this particular aspect, would suck quite badly. And
this, yeah. And I have some advice. I also have a little bit of life experience.
Oh.
Try not to misinterpret things as hints. That's mainly what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah.
There are people that don't pick up on social cues and stuff like that, and sometimes I fall into that as well. But a simple smile or a simple nod or, any basic, body language, don't take it to the extreme. That's the first thing to do. And also, if you see somebody acting the fool, with your coworkers, because, a lot of us have worked in office jobs and stuff like that, call them out. Call them out. Loudly, if you have to. So they don't do that again.
I will say as well, there's a very big divide between someone being a bit cheeky or making a joke and stuff that everyone enjoys, and, proper harassment. And oftentimes it's in how things are received, and if they're constant. Like, I can say I worked in, like, a high street shoe shop where everyone was fairly young, quite, and there was a lot of flirting and stuff, but it never was harassment at all, and not even close to it. And whenever there were new people coming in, it wasn't like you immediately flirt with them or have banter or anything like that. You just treat them normally, and the best thing to do is get to know what people's limits are. Just not even just in the workplace or anything like that. Don't go in with, like, a dirty joke the first time you meet someone. Just be nice with someone.
Yeah, that's a big no-no.
Yeah, get to know them, know what you can say, know what you can't say. Just take your time with people.
Let's mention the political and, like, religion thing too. Why not?
Yeah,
Why not?
Like
Don't bring those things up at work unless you have a very clear understanding that all the people that are in the same room as you aren't going to be offended or take issue with the things that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Holy crap, dude. Like, oh my goodness. We've had, when I was working security, we had people that would just spout nonsense without any consideration to, like, what, other people's beliefs or thoughts on the topic were.
Yeah.
And, like, all that caused was problems. more often than not, because there's a boiling point too. Like, if you're there long enough, there's a boil over point where you can be caught right in the middle of it. And also, like, if you don't have as cool of managers and supervisors as I did either, like, you can be caught in the middle and also be blamed for stuff that you didn't do. So overall, just keep each other in check. That's important. I'm glad this turned into more of a positive, be cool to each other type of thing.
There's always a good lesson to be learned from bad things happening.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, you can release a polished game, but if you're, if your office situation needs some work too, that shouldn't be ignored. Okay.
Speaking of polished games,
we have 3 topics that are either neutral or good. Ooh. And go ahead, Sarge.
Yeah, well, the most polished and perfect game of all time, undeniably, yes. Fallout 76. No sarcasm there. To be fair, I always have, because I still cover Fallout 76 for anyone who is interested. There's always some people in the comments complaining about the fact there's still negative stuff going on with it, and other people saying, "Oh my god, this game's so terrible," and it's a constant cycle. It's crazy.
It's an easy target. It's this Battlefront 2. Like, it's just gonna take the next one, and then people will move on.
Yeah. Yeah, once Fallout 5 comes out as a single player with, like, traits you make at the start and multiple endings, that's all it needs. That's all it needs, and people will forget. But whilst this is the thing, people are gonna
this dead horse is way past dead, but we gotta wait for something else that comes out.
If the negative press coverage of Fallout 76 hasn't put you off, though, there is a free trial weekend starting on Thursday, December 12th at 11 AM Eastern Time and ending on Monday, December 16th at 12 PM Eastern Time. So basically,
which is a smart move.
Yeah, the extended weekend, you can jump on, play for free. They're also selling the game for 50% off during that time. So if you play the free trial and go, wow, I actually really like this game, you can buy it a bit cheaper, which is nice. And I know a hell of a lot of people who tried the game and loved it, because it's not a game for everyone, and it's not a single-player RPG, which is where the initial criticism came from, and it does have bugs and issues still. There's still plenty of those, but it is a playable survival game that's good for hanging out with people and just chilling and having fun. So there's a lot of good in it.
There's no other game. Like, the only one that comes to mind is Rust and Conan Exiles. There's no other game like Fallout 76 in the sense that you can go to somebody's camp and try to catapult yourselves off of his roof.
Yep.
We talked about this in the last one?
Yes, I've also featured it on Twitter and in my last 76 update video.
Yeah, there's no other games where you can spend an hour doing that and still have a good time.
Yeah, it's still quite a fun game. And there's some cool stuff in it. And I would recommend giving it a try whilst it's free, because all you're spending then is some download time. Which
if you're in that sense where you've just been listening to people be like, hey, this game's garbage, this game's a trash fire, and haven't actually tried it yourself, do yourself a favor it's free. Like you're not the only thing you're losing is a few minutes or up to an hour
Yep.
to find out if you like it or not.
Yeah.
And some bandwidth, depending on depending on where you live.
But if you do give it a try as well, there's going to be a whole Christmassy holiday event where there's lots of holiday enemies showing up. Where there's the Scorch dressed up in Christmas outfits.
Oh yeah, yeah. I enjoy when games do that a lot. Yeah. They took a page from the right book for that. I'm sure you're going to go over like the Santatron or whatever it's called.
Yep, the Santatron as well.
Is that what it's called?
Yes, yeah, Santatron's what it's called. Yep.
It's free, Sarge.
Yeah.
I didn't think they knew what that meant.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Fallout 76 gives away something in the Atom Shop for free every single week. It's normally like emotes or poses or camp
but it's never
decorations.
something like functional.
No, but to be fair, there's not been that much functional stuff added. It's only like half a dozen functional things now. So
yeah, the last time they were technically free though was like the improved repair kits, which would drop from the Queen.
Which still do, I believe.
Yeah, which is good, I guess. But yeah, I think it's cool. I think it's a step in the right direction. They have to keep that momentum going though. Like that's the issues they keep running into is like, oh, we're doing really good. Oh, Fallout first.
Yeah. And it doesn't even take much with 76 because it's
it doesn't.
Already such a target. They can make a small just mistake here and there, and it just gets.
I'm gonna make a side too. By the way, I was watching a video from another YouTuber. That I'll just name anyway because he did a good like sum up of why Bethesda is screwing up so badly and kind of a recap on all the things that they've done the past year with Fallout 76. It's Matt McMuscles. He did a video on all of the things from Fallout First back to like the power armor thing to the various bugs and issues at the very start of the game involving power armor and stretchy skeletons and that still being an issue. But I did add some clarifications in his comments section, being like, the power armor helmet thing, he was referring to, like, the special edition power armor helmets, and not alluding to, like, the fact that it was less than 40 of the 20,000 Nuka-Cola variants that were recalled, that had mold in them. And also that a sticking point for me with a lot of reporting was they were just like, oh, $100 a year. This is a big number. Let's put that in there and not mention the 1 month payment that you can do for Fallout First and still keep a good chunk of the things that you paid for that service after the fact.
I know I pointed out the fact that if you're spending atoms each month, which is the in-game currency, it works out cheaper to go Fallout First if you're spending that many regardless. Yeah. So
because you get like $16.50 or something like that?
Yeah, I think that's the amount, which is like $16.50 compared to like $12 or something per month and $100 a year. So if you spend that
plus the other benefits, like it's actually, I almost want to call it a deal.
I was going to say it's good value if you want the stuff it provides.
It's good value if you want, the atoms and whatever cosmetic suit that they're giving away along with it. And the scrap box that apparently works now. I have zero experience with it because
I believe it works now.
I have this expectation of new editions of the game just not working right, and and if it's a container, absolutely worst case, I will not use it until like a month or two afterwards because things can just disappear.
Well, I mean, anyway, we had that in a different game, Borderlands 3, where we were really skeptical of it.
Yeah, see, like that's the thing too. Like, I only stored things. Thankfully, in Borderlands 3, knowing it's an online game, I always have this internal concern, like that some things could be impermanent if they're not like on your character. So when that thing happened with Borderlands 3, I was like, oh, okay. I didn't really lose anything. I only stored some like duplicates or items that I don't really plan on using, just have for like making videos or whatever. I can go get them again. I don't know. With online games, just be mindful, especially if they're like brand new or in an early access kind of state when it comes to containers.
Yeah.
Bonus tip of the day.
Speaking of Borderlands 3, that's going to be a perfectly edited segue, which will make total sense.
You're very welcome.
Yep, thank you, Caedo. So there's a bit of DLC which came out like 2 weeks ago. Like, it came out on the day we recorded the PIPCAST, we mentioned it. Caedo and I have now played it. There are highlights up on my channel where the two of us played it with Nilsar. They are funny moments and actually show, like, the whole raid. It's a fun little raid. It's very difficult to solo, especially when your teammates throw you themselves off the edge. Yeah.
I wonder who did that? Who did that?
Yeah,
Sarge?
no idea at all. They'll have to watch the funny highlights to see. But yeah, there's been a fun little raid, which is a fairly short one as well. I think we've only done it like 4 times now, I want to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know, like 20 minutes is probably our best time, I'd say. Something around that.
That's about right.
Yeah, with our badass Amara builds, which you can also see on my channel, because it turns out I accidentally made almost the exact same build as Caedo. Like,
I was looking over, actually, I didn't see the actual build trees. Did you have them displayed?
Those were the things that showed up, but I didn't show the actual trees, because it turns out you can't have all 3 of them showing at once, and it's icky on the UI.
Oh, you could use like a third-party site and just cut it out. Yeah. That's what Anyway, next time. But I noticed that you actually took some perks that I ignored completely, like the bunny rabbit one that makes you and your teammates faster.
Oh yeah, I like speed.
Points on that.
And I'm a huge fan of speed.
And when you have mindfulness, like you want to run faster when you get shot anyway, so I just have that.
But we are running very similar builds. Like, we were playing the Mallow on Black Site takedown raid the other day, and we were going over like our equipment, and we were using almost the same stuff in every single slot.
Yeah, there was no prep. We didn't like inform each other on what we were going to be using.
No.
Like beforehand, I had sent Sarge like some of the stuff that I wasn't using anymore, like through the mail system or trading or stuff like that. Yeah. But I had no influence on how he like equipped his character. But we were using the same gear. Yeah,
it was like same shield, same relic, same guns, same. I think we had. Were you using the hex as well? You might have been. Yep, you used
I had a shock hex.
Yeah, I had a cryo hex. Look, there's some very few differences between what we were using the other day. Yeah. But a lot of fun doing the little raid. It is a very quick mission, but it's also a very difficult one if you're going to try and solo it, so it's definitely a raid. Like, I think we've only done it on, like, Mayhem 1 now. Yeah. I think that's the highest difficulty we've done it.
We should try it on Mayhem 3 sometime soon.
We can do it on Mayhem 3. Whether our Amara is, we definitely can. But something else to look forward to as well is on the 19th, there is the Heist of Handsome Jack's Casino, which is another DLC coming out. Is this one a free one or a paid one? Do you know?
I think it might be paid.
It's difficult to tell because they're actually giving a whole bunch of free stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing you've got the like season pass thingy?
I actually don't remember if I do or not.
I definitely have. I think
I got the deluxe. It's the deluxe edition, right?
I'm not sure if I've got like deluxe or super deluxe. I basically bought the one where it's like, yeah, you're getting all of the in-game content. There's been so much free stuff as well, and like all of the skins and stuff are free. You just earn them in-game, and God, Borderlands 3 is amazing. It better be Game of the Year. It's not going to be, because it wasn't nominated, which is stupid, but it's nominated for some other stuff. Yeah, it's amazing. I love Borderlands 3. Where is it? I can't even see which version I've got.
It says unavailable. So I don't know if I can actually get it.
Oh, it's when I click on it, it says owned. So yeah, I have the Super Deluxe Edition.
Okay. So I got the regular. I think I got the regular deluxe because it also says unavailable.
Yeah, this DLC is coming regardless. I'm trying to say, and it doesn't even mention if Handsome Jack is specifically it, but there are 4 campaign DLC packs featuring new stories, missions, and challenges. This might be one of them. The fact for giving away free stuff is actually making it kind of confusing to say for certain.
Yeah.
But is also amazing. And yeah, Handsome Jack apparently has a casino. There has been a little video with the first, they say the first 13 minutes of gameplay showed. It's actually like 2 minutes of actually walking through and about 10 minutes of fighting very slowly against enemies.
Yeah, using the slowest possible weapon loadout.
Oh yeah. The fact they're playing as Zane as well, who my first Borderlands 3 build was like super fast, zippy Zane, who just sprints across the entire map. Seeing him just reload my gun, push a bullet. It was painful.
Walk around like an Amara or Flak player.
Oh yeah.
Just be like, dooba dooba doo, shoot this guy.
They like slided once. It was To be fair, we don't want to pick too much on the person playing. It was very much a character constructed just for this one little demo, and there's lots of the slow shots of them being on controller and looking up at stuff. Very cinematic and all that, which is nice. But when you've been playing the game for a while and you're like laser splodering people whilst jumping through the air and sliding underneath a boss's
there is
legs
no
like
finesse.
crazy.
There's no finesse whatsoever to the gameplay. So, but you will get a preview of like the first little bit of the DLC, and also what we linked was the trailer of it. And I'll put a link for the gameplay of it too if you guys are interested. Props to Gearbox, dude, for actually like making a game that's not just replayable, but adding stuff to it that gets people to stay around. I just talking to my sister today, I found out that they bought Borderlands 3 for the Xbox and have been enjoying the crap out of it. My nephew was so stoked for it, dude. And nothing, I don't think any of like the negative press really got through because of the game being so good and so replayable and so much fun with friends.
It is such a good game.
Just Borderlands 3, good game of the year.
Yep. I've just checked as well, and I've played 9 days of it so far.
Yeah.
Recording.
Holy crap! I wonder what mine is. Let me double check.
Here's the thing as well. I've played 9 days. I'm going to play so much more, and I'm not playing as much of it as I want to.
I have 14 days on mine.
Jeez, Caedo. And checking mine, I've done like over 200 hours. That means, and wait, 14 days you say? That's Caedo. That's
it's a long time.
Like 300, 350 hours already.
Yeah.
When did the game come out? 13th of September. No, September. It's been out a little longer than we thought.
A few months.
Man, it's looking at these things. It's only on like a 4.2 and stuff. It's terrible.
Those are the hours I play on a straight online game, not just a looter shooter that you co-op with. Like that is real high up there.
Yeah.
I'm actually curious to double check like what my Borderlands 2 playthrough is like, because I know that one's high too.
Oh, I want to check mine, but most of mine's on Xbox. I can see what I played on whatchamacallit. On PC. On PC, I've only played 76 hours of Borderlands 2, and I've barely touched the surface.
I've played like console versions of Borderlands 2 also, so like that would be stacked on top of my time though. But the amount of time I spent on Steam playing Borderlands 2 and all of its DLCs is pretty much on point with the time that I've spent with Borderlands 3 now. I've played Borderlands 2 326 hours, according to Steam.
God, man.
So they're tied, and the DLC hasn't even come out yet.
Yeah.
And I haven't maxed out any other character.
Yeah, you're only on one character. I've got all 4 of mine level 50.
I've played the other ones, and like you've helped me level them some, but like I haven't actually just decided to play them because Amara is just so good.
Yeah, Amara is pretty good. I think to anyone listening, if you haven't already, just buy Borderlands 3. Like it is so good. If you're at all interested in a single player / co-op looter shooter with fun little characters, a decent story, and a pretty beautiful world as well. It's got a photo mode as well, which I freaking love.
Yeah.
God, I love photo mode.
Yeah, and if you're on PC, freaking join our Discords and play with us or people in our community. Like, that's part of it too. Like, part of it is the fun gameplay, but a big chunk of it is the fact that it's co-op and now scaled based on level.
Yeah. Like,
that makes it infinitely more possible to play with people and not feel overpowered or underpowered. I mean, I still feel overpowered because of, Mark.
Yeah.
But but a little less so. And the person joining you or people joining you can still contribute to the fight.
I'm tempted to give it like my game of the decade. It is that good.
Yeah, I'd have to see a list of like what other games.
That's the thing. I'd have to be certain. Like, there's a few others where I'm like, oh, that's a really good game as well. But God, it's definitely up there. It's bare minimum top 10 games of the decade for me.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Same here.
Yeah.
Part of the testament to it is like seeing how many hours you put into it without thinking about it.
Oh yeah.
That's the same thing with Phoenix Point. Like, it's got issues, but I've still poured tons of hours into it because it's fun.
Yep.
And gotten angry, but it's fun.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right, so how about the Facebooky thing? That's not a segue, but I'm going to run with it because Facebook is trash, but a lot of us use it.
Yeah,
that is
follow
just
our Facebook
my
pages if you want.
That is just my humble opinion. I don't like working with Facebook because, especially when it comes to all the aspects that Facebook is trying to juggle at the same time, it doesn't do any one thing good. And I'm worried that it's going to be the same thing with the Beat Saber Studio thing. But then again, the Oculus is an all-in-one type of thing.
Yeah.
Their Oculus division is actually probably one of the strongest. Anyway, they acquired Beat Saber and Beat Games. If you're not familiar, Beat Saber is a rhythm game on VR that is a absolute blast to play, and number one on Steam for single player, like, nonstop. And there's a reason for that. Because you can rig this up in your living room or whatever when you have company over and stuff like that, and they can play it, and then you basically automatically converted somebody into being iffy about VR to loving it. I don't think I've had a single negative reaction to the VR, like once somebody actually tried it. Because Beat Saber is like the perfect entry point. If not that, then not Office Simulator, Job Simulator. Yeah. That's a good one too. But anyway, this is from PC Gamer once again. Beat Saber Studio Beat Games has been purchased by Facebook and will become an independently operated arm of Oculus Studios, according to an announcement made today. In a statement issued by Mike Verdu, AR and VR Director of Content at Facebook, the pickup is just the beginning of Facebook's plans to accelerate VR via acquisitions. There's many things about this that concerns me personally as a Vive user. Vive is Steam's VR headset. Mm-hmm. And Beat Saber has been universally available to all VR platforms. But because of this acquisition, they might go the exclusive route and be like, oh, this is only available on Oculus now. Oh, let's talk about the exclusivity that's bad. Buying new hardware is exclusivity that's bad. Yes. At least when it comes to the anti-consumer thing that people like to bring up. Having to buy new hardware is completely different than having to just download something to run it. I don't want to have to get an Oculus. If I were to do it again, I would have bought an Oculus to begin with, because you don't have to have the sensors up, pinned to your walls to actually have the thing pick you up and see your movement. It's all contained, which is awesome. But like, I already have a VR headset. Kite got it for me a couple birthdays or Christmases ago, and I was mad about it then, but I'm a little more happy about it now because we've gotten a chance to actually play a whole bunch of stuff on it. No more expensive gifts though, from then to now, because that's an expensive freaking gift. But yeah, I don't know. Those of you who play VR, in the comment section, it's a much smaller niche of people that play VR. It's still an emerging technology, and that's why Facebook is jumping on it. They're like, oh, this is the most popular developer for VR games right now. Mine. have a crap ton of money here under our umbrella now. Yeah. And yeah, we'll see what happens, but I for one am concerned because they're gonna continue supporting Beat Saber with its current stuff, but they didn't really say what new updates that are gonna come along with it, and that's what bothers me. Because what keeps Beat Saber alive is its DLCs with new songs being added, like what kind of kept Guitar Hero going for a while and stuff like that. Kind of the same deal.
Yes, Guitar Hero still going strong today, of course.
It's not at all. That one had about the same amount of cost for hardware. If we're gonna, or no, it was Rock Band. Rock Band was one of the big ones. My sister actually was the one who got me into rhythm games in the first place, by the way, with Rock Band and Guitar Hero.
I want to play Guitar Hero more. Just never have the time for it. It's all downstairs, but I'm not exactly just going to go into the front room and start belting out sweet songs as much as I want to.
Once you become a bajillion YouTuber, Sarge, you should just get a VR headset so you can, just do the stuff in your room.
Yeah.
like I do.
I mean, if I become a billionaire, I'll hopefully have a better room, because right now there's wind blowing through the busted window, and it's a tip, there's not exactly room for VR.
We should make the deal right now. Like, if one of us becomes a bajillion YouTuber at some point, we'll that's just what I call it.
Yep.
I'll just create a bunker somewhere that we can all.
Oh, I've got a bunker. It's got no internet or anything, but I've got a bunker. That's fine, man. I've already got that sorted.
No, we'll make our own. We'll make our own giant like bunker motel type thing.
Bunker motel.
It'd be like tiny houses but underground, and like all that you would see on top was like solar panels. They got it all planned out. Planned out just in the last few seconds.
God, oh man, the mold, man. That does not go well with electronics.
Not if you built it with fiberglass. I know that much because my dad buried a boat and made it into a red cellar.
Oh, of course, yes. I know this because my dad buried a boat. That's such a weird thing.
Okay, so this is how. Okay, if you're interested in putting up new structures on property that you own, like hardly anybody in my demographic or even your demographic will even care about this. Building codes are a thing. You have to build something in certain dimensions to include to be a certain type of structure. You can't have multiple houses on the same property most cases. You can't have so many structures on the same property unless you find a way to work around it, which my dad did by burying a boat. It's not a structure, it's a boat. So he was able to bypass it entirely by doing that and not having to be charged more in property taxes to have said boat, because it's still a boat, despite having a porch. My parents are weird.
Yeah, that's literally all I got from that story.
The boat is a root cellar / bunkhouse. It's pretty cool. Anyway, let's move on to the Fallout topic. We're talking about underground shelters and whatnot, referring to Fallout anyway. But our topic today is talking about difficulties in games, in the Fallout games in particular. I only wrote down the main series games, New Vegas included, of course.
You have to include New Vegas. Can you imagine what happened if we said we've just included the important games that didn't have New Vegas?
Fallout 2.5 is what New Vegas is, basically.
2.5. Wow. So it's less than Fallout 3, Caedo. Is that what you're saying? Is that the official take? Oh.
No, it's a...
Oh, Caedo, no, you've said it now. Can't take it back.
That's a reference point I use for, like, being the quote-unquote sequel to Fallout 2. I would prefer that over, like, going to Fallout 3 in the Capital Wasteland, then going back to the West Coast, and then going back to the East Coast again. I like having it based on region in my series, not based on when it came out.
I mean, as the foreigner, it's all just America to me.
Yeah.
It's like they could literally be next to each other. I wouldn't know. Anyway, on to the actual discussion.
Yeah, the actual discussion, Sarge.
Yes.
Should I talk about the first two games and their difficulties?
Yeah, well, I think the overarching thing is we want to kind of discuss the fact that not each, but most of the games have done difficulty in a slightly different way. They either added something or tweaked some mechanics or just taken a bit of a unusual or different approach, which is quite a cool thing. And it started in the first couple of games, which Caedo knows a lot about. Yes,
sure. I need to actually look these up really quick.
Oh, okay. In which case, I'm gonna readjust my chair quickly, because the cushion is being destroyed.
I wish, without loading up the games, I wish it was easier to find, like, the actual breakdown of developers, film adaptation. What the...
You know, it's almost like the original couple of Fallouts didn't get as much coverage, and when Bethesda ruined the franchise, people took a lot more interest.
Oh no! Well, I know the Fallout 1 and 2's basics off the top of my head, so...
We don't need to go super in-depth on every single game.
Yeah, so the difficulties in Fallout 1 and 2, there were two different difficulty selectors. There was one for General, the general difficulty of the game, which only modified your skills. If you stayed at normal, there was no extra modifiers given. If you set it to hard, you would have like a 20% point skill reduction like from the get-go, and you would have to, level up and gain skills, with that penalty. Whereas in easy, which you could switch at any point in time in the game to give yourself an extra benefit, I think it raises it up by 30% each.
Jeez.
For each skill. So like if you come across, if you hit a game stopping point, you're just like, I want to progress, you just switch it to easy, and like if you got to lockpick a door or something like that, it's 30% easier. Like it's it's really great. And then so that was general difficulty, and then you have the combat difficulty, which is different in the sense that enemies aren't quite the enemies are just dumber in the turn-based combat of Fallout 1 and 2. They take really basic, like low percentage shots if you're set to easy. Set to normal, they're at kind of like a midpoint, and in hard and brute, I think there's 4 settings. There's like hard and brutal, or hard and savage, or something like that.
Yeah.
When it starts going over the harder difficulties in Fallout 1 and 2 in combat, the NPCs and enemies are taking more aimed shots at your characters, trying to cripple your body, and that of course can kind of ruin your whole day if you don't know where a doctor is, or don't have the doctor's skill to repair the limb yourself.
Yeah. Fallout 1 and 2, regardless, are kind of difficult games.
Yes.
So putting the difficulty up even more.
That's why there's guides. That's why people going back to them should watch my guides as well, and my tips and tricks, because tips and tricks, I have 39 of them, all for Fallout 1 and 2, and you should watch them if you are interested at all, because you will have a much easier time with the game, even if you don't watch the character creation guide. The tips and tricks will definitely help you survive in the classic games longer. So what about Fallout 3, Sarge? What's so complex about the difficulty in Fallout 3?
Well, surface level, Fallout 3's difficulty system seems very standard and what we might be used to out of any game nowadays, where you had easy, medium, hard, very hard. It just changed the damage multiplier, basically. Didn't seem to do much else. One thing it did though was change XP values you receive, which means if you're playing on easy, you earn far less XP than you do if you're playing on very hard. So the higher the difficulty, the quicker you'll level up, which created an interesting kind of way where if you thought, I'm just going to make it really easy for myself, then at the start of the game things are really easy. But if you're just rushing through the campaign or something on easy mode, you're going to end up a fairly low level towards the end, because you're earning 10% less than on normal. Whereas if you're on very hard, you fight your way through the campaign, and it's quite difficult, but you might hit the cap a mission or two before the end, because you're earning just so much more XP. And it's a system which I've never been able to decide if I love it or I hate it.
I think maybe you can tell me, because you spent time with Fallout 3 more than I did, at least the last year. Yeah. I think. Do you remember if there was an actual XP cap for combat? Because I remember either Fallout 3 or New Vegas, the cap was set at 50. You couldn't get any more experience than 50 per kill. Was that in Fallout 3? Or
don't know off the top of my head.
It's in one of them.
Problem is, I always remember it with the mole rats being the obvious one for me, because they're one of the first enemies you kill who give more than 1 XP or whatever. And it's I think they give you 10 XP or something on normal, but it's 9 XP on that. Oh man. Really annoyingly as well, I've just clicked on the wiki article that you've linked, and the difficulty section, all it shows is the damage modifiers.
just the damage modifiers. And it's just damage modifiers too. It's not the armor values or the health values of the enemies too, which is absurd in Fallout 3 if you set it to very hard. Yeah. Overlords in particular, the Overlords, the albino rad scorpions, and the Reavers, the Ghoul Reavers, are all stupidly spongy enemies. There was no extra complications or extra additions to the difficulty besides just making them extremely tanky. And that was the only threat. It was a battle of attrition, and a lot of the time you could just get killed by not being able to pump out enough bullets or explosives to take them out.
But I like that in Fallout 3 in particular, because it makes it just a lot more dangerous for Wasteland. If I go for on easy, it's too easy for me. But if I go for on hard or very hard, the fact that enemies do have quite a lot of health, even when I'm playing like my super snipey character or whatever, I still have to be like, okay, I can one-shot headshot this super mutant, but the big overlord over there is going to take like 4 or 5 shots. So do I like focus on the overlord whilst he's a fair distance away, or do I thin out the crowd and then have a big fight with the overlord? I liked it. It worked well on that front. But I do
then you find out that if you shoot the tri-beam out of the overlord's hands, they're totally useless in combat.
I do miss particularly selecting the weapons, which hasn't been in the past couple of Fallouts, which was great fun. Like, I hope they bring that back for Fallout 5, the single-player Fallout, which I am developing, of course.
Wait, I thought it was available in Fallout 4.
No, you can shoot their arms, but you can't shoot the thing. Shoot the weapons.
You can shoot grenades in the air.
You can shoot grenades in the air, that is cool. That is a lot of fun. But you can't shoot the actual weapons they're holding. You can disarm with a pistol, but that's just on, like, standard shooting. You can't specifically select the thing. Which is, like, the one part of Fallout 4's combat which I don't like compared to previous games. That's, like, the one thing for me. Yeah.
Wow.
But a game which I cannot criticise because everyone online will hate me is Fallout New Vegas.
All hail Obsidian!
I feel like I'm just going to progressively poke at Obsidian and New Vegas more and more as the series goes on. Like, if we hit level 100, I'm just going to be swearing and cursing at the game if I keep them crashing up. But New Vegas did add something interesting, which was hardcore mode.
Yes, which is another separate difficulty thing.
Yeah. Well, it still had, like, easy, medium, hard, very hard, which didn't affect XP, if I recall correctly, in New Vegas, was just damage modifier.
Yep.
But then hardcore was a survival-based mode, which, at the time, I think, wasn't particularly common in most games.
Unless you're talking about just survival games in general, then no.
No, because
it was
a bit before lots of games started deciding to add in various survival modes into their campaigns or whatever.
Metro has a lot of survival aspects to it, but it's very contained in what you have to manage, and it's just your air filter in your mask, mainly, and of course radiation with your Geiger counter.
Yeah,
staying away from it.
But New Vegas, on the other hand, had a ton of stuff, because obviously there was food, water, and sleep, which was the big three. You just need to deal with them, or else they start debuffing your special stats and eventually kill you. But honestly, if you die from any of those, what are you doing? Come on. It's like you should not be dying from them.
I think there was one point where my character died from lack of sleep, just because I kept waiting. Without paying attention to it.
Yeah, it's that's your fault, Caedo. It's your fault.
I think that's the only time that I did that by accident.
Yeah.
Just once. And then I felt like an idiot.
Yep. As you should. However, there were a few things on hardcore mode I preferred personally. The big one, companions can die.
Yep.
I love it.
Yep.
Just murdering your companions for fun. It's so good.
However, I wish they were smart enough to keep themselves alive too.
Yeah. I haven't done Obsidian's new game, Outer Worlds. I haven't done a Supernova run with companions yet, because just playing normally, I've already had them charge through minefields to punch enemies.
Yeah.
As much as people love Obsidian, it seems that getting companion AI to be at all sensible is not one of their strong points.
Yes.
They're either standing indoors or charging over explosives.
Companions in a story sense, they got. Yeah. They're good at it. But companions surviving a fight when they're suddenly mortal needs some work.
It's like you get really attached to this deep and interesting character who then charges at a Deathclaw and tries to punch it in the groin.
Yeah, Cass did that with a fire gecko.
Oh dear.
And she saw them before I did, so by the time I realized that she was shooting at 3 fire geckos, she was already slapped to death. Like there was nothing I could do, because they don't know how to flee either. So,
just talking about this now makes me want to see if I can do like a New Vegas run on hardcore mode, where I just have to go with each companion and, like, permadeath it, but try and keep at least one companion alive at the end, and have that as another clarifier.
Companion permadeath?
Yeah.
As well as player permadeath?
I can't even remember how many companions are in the game, but, like, each time I lose a companion, the permadeath switches over to me, then I have to get a new one. Then as soon as they're dead, I'm back on permadeath rules again. Something like that. I think that'd be kind of fun.
That'd be... So they're your spare lives, but you want to keep them around anyway, because they're extra firepower.
But with how dumb they can be as well, it's like... It will just be constantly me going, no, stop charging towards them. And like Boone, whenever there's Legion about, he's just like, no, I'm going to murder them all. I'm going to kill all of them. You can't stop me.
And like pretty much most of the Wasteland enemies too are melee based. And for some awful reason, if you give your companion a weapon besides their default, it can get slapped out of their hands and fly across the map.
Yeah.
I have lost uniques. So many uniques that way. Yeah. I don't even go back to load because by the time I realize that happened, like it's already way past and I have no idea when.
Yeah.
Or I just stick to things that are still powerful but not unique, like giving Veronica the ballistic fist, which, you know, that's just rare. You can get more from, you know, the Brotherhood vendor and killing Praetorians.
Yep.
But don't give her oh baby, like one of the most powerful melee weapons in the game, and expect it to stay equipped to her, because
be gone forever.
It'll take like a Caedo, just be like, oh, stinger, and then it's gone. Yeah. Anyway, I like the stim packs and rat away healing over time kind of thing. They switched that from instantly to over time.
Yeah.
Doctor's bags only heal limbs partially, and stim packs also don't heal limbs.
Yep.
And apparently you can repair limbs or heal limbs. I keep calling it repair because it's basically the same thing. Sleeping in a bed or mattress. I didn't realize that you can recover limb damage that way.
Yeah, I don't think I ever tried doing that. To be fair though, it's very rare you've got a busted limb near a bed, I feel. Like, it's normally out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. One of the bigger ones for me was the ammunition weight. It made you, like, consider what you decided to bring with you, and your attributes reflecting your build as well, a lot more so.
Yeah.
Like, if you were going with a big guns character, you would have to, like, run around with a much higher strength than you would with somebody, you know, with average strength or something like that, and fair, like, wanting more carry weight perks as well.
Well, some of the perks, I'm trying to remember the name of the perk, but isn't there one where items of, like, a very low weight become, like, halved in their carry weight?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember.
It's an extremely useful one.
Yeah.
I think it's a barter-based perk.
Yeah, but suddenly that becomes really great in hardcore mode if you want to carry around a lot of bullets, because they're low weight.
Yeah, that's a lot of perks in New Vegas too. Like, they become infinitely more useful when you switch it over to hardcore mode.
Yeah. Than
they would with the normal game. And of course, the dehydration, starvation, and sleep mechanics. Those are okay.
Yeah, if
they're
anything,
more...
I'd say they're a bit of a failing grace compared to the other hardcore stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. They're a little too constant from what I remember playing. I did the New Vegas Let's Play. They were more of a mild chore.
Yeah. They occur quite often kind of at a small rank, but it's very rare you're not able to get, like, food or water.
Yeah.
Or find a bed to sleep in. Like,
I feel like moving the brackets to, like removing the 200 and the 600, and then just making the 400 and 800 level marks, like, more substantial.
Yeah.
Like reducing max HP, or just doing something that really, like, makes your character regret not feeding themselves or sleeping or drinking or something like that. Not just attribute penalties.
Yeah.
But derived stat penalties. Or, like, having an armor reduction. Dude, that'd be something.
Yeah, there's lots of cooler stuff that could have been done with it as well.
Yeah. That leads us into the Fallout 4 survival mode, which...
Oh god, yeah. Well,
did a lot of things.
At this point, I should probably plug that once you're done listening to the PIPCAST, if you listen to it as soon as it got posted, then by the end of this, I'll probably be about to stream some more Fallout 4 Survival Mode.
There you go.
Yeah, which I'm doing every Sunday at 8 PM UK time. So come
Sarge
over.
also died last week, so if you missed that,
Did
you missed out.
I made it to like 8 weeks, I want to say, before my first death. And it was such a stupid one as well. You should watch it. Like, there's a whole playlist of it on my channel.
It was Sarge feeling gutsy.
Yeah, I decided I wanted to save my sniper ammo, which is the dumbest decision I have ever made. But ammo's a bit more harder to come by in survival mode, because it weighs like it did in hardcore in New Vegas.
Yes.
So you can't just carry around millions, so I was like, oh, I don't have much sniper ammo, let's just head up with my shotgun. The ammo on that weighs a lot, I don't want to be carrying around too much of it, let's use it up on these super mutants. Oh dear, I missed. Oh dear, they slaughtered me. Because in survival mode on Fallout 4, who deals damage first matters so much, because both you and the enemy suddenly become like really squishy.
Yes.
Which I love. It is so good. Because it feels realistic.
Yes.
It really does. It's where
that's what they were going for.
Yeah, it's where I got my realism mode challenge runs from. Because if you shoot someone in the head, they're probably gonna die. Like, even if it's a strong raider boss, that's a lot of their health going away at the very least.
All that Molotov spam that's really visually annoying?
Yep.
Yeah, that'll just kill you.
Yeah. Early on, if you get hit with a Molotov, you are dead. Like, you cannot get good enough armor right at the start. Even in power armor, you're taking a substantial hit.
Yeah.
It's great. It also really kind of promotes, like, lone sniper gameplay, which is my preferred way to play. I know, Caedo, you're more of a melee and explosives guy, so not
real difficult.
Yeah, like kind of a worse way you could probably play survival mode.
Yes. There's only like one route you should go if you're playing survival with a melee-oriented character, and that's, towards explosives, and you're gonna need blitz, like first thing out of the vault. As well as high sneak. Yep. You have to have sneak if you want to survive the first 20 levels.
Yeah. I've actually literally just remembered, I actually did play a melee explosives in Fallout 4 roguelike. I did Carl. A little punchy guy. And that was... I only did like 2 fights, because he was a very quick character to get done. But that was a case of... I dealt a ton of damage with my power fist, so I was like one-shotting enemies with power attacks. But I had to I had to use jet and tons of other drugs and just charge in slow time to not get shot up.
And there's consequences to like everything, and that's what makes you like reconsider and move a lot more slowly and actually take in what you're doing into consideration too, which is really, really cool.
Well, the biggest consequence is you can't just quick save. The only way to save is by sleeping. Which meant
a lot of people actually mod that out.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Because that was a big sticking point for a lot of people.
I get why people don't like it. Speaking as someone who just a week ago lost 45 minutes of progress, I totally get why people don't like it. But it does up the stakes so much more than if you can just save and keep throwing yourself at the thing over and over again. Like I've had to
be cautious for most of the game.
Yeah, I've had to completely reevaluate what I'm going to do on the stream, because I don't want to fall into the same scenario and lose all that time. And it makes you kind of go back, and there's adrenaline as well you get, which is a flat damage bonus based on the number of kills you've got since the last time you slept. So if you sleep, you start to lose adrenaline, which makes you deal less damage. But you've saved the game, so it's a bit safer if you do die. But if you decide, okay, I'm not going to sleep, I'm going to, like, chug a Nuka-Cola to caffeinate myself, also a badass, like, added thing they add in. Caffeine. Yeah. God, survival mode in Fallout 4 is so damn good. Like, when people are like, oh, Fallout 4 is not a real RPG, I'm like, play survival mode. Play survival mode.
There's so much good put into survival mode. Can I like, just read down the list?
Do it.
Go ahead. It's a big list. Okay, so, the saving thing. Manual quick saving autosaves are... available in normal, but in survival, you need to sleep in a bed, and there's also an exit save when you exit the game.
Yeah.
Fast travel. Fast travel is disabled. You have to utilize different things like the vertibirds and the institute teleportation if you want to get around.
Both of which are like mid to late game as well. Like early on, you are not going to be dealing with that.
Yeah, and this aspect in particular I liked because it let me it forced me to explore more so and encounter things more often.
You learn routes as well.
Yep.
Which is great.
Yep.
Like, I know off by heart several different paths in the game. Like, I know exactly what I'll encounter or what I'm likely to encounter. I know where specific chests and things are. It's awesome.
Yeah. Detection of locations of interest are significantly reduced, so they have to be like in actual visual range a lot of the time.
Yeah, that's, to clarify, that's like on your compass down at the bottom, you won't see a little red rocket icon.
The markers,
when you're in Sanctuary, you need to like cross over the bridge and be almost on top of it. Which means you're not, you kind of have to remember where places are, and often can kind of get lost if you're not too familiar with the map.
Yeah. Location and dungeon repopulation rate has been substantially reduced, where it can repopulate after 35 to 80 in-game days.
Yep. Where previously it was 7 to 20.
Yep.
So, like, 4 times as much.
Stronger enemy spawns.
Yep.
Stronger enemies appear as the character levels, and in normal mode. But in survival mode, stronger enemies just spawn with regularity. So legendary enemies are just going to show up. Damage. The Soul Survivor does 150% damage and takes 200% damage relative to very hard difficulty. Relative to normal mode, Soul Survivor does 75% damage and takes 400% damage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's...
Experience gain. Enemies yield 2 times experience. It's just a flat 2 times bonus. Adrenaline. Sarge was already talking about that. The adrenaline perk is completely separate from the rest of the game. Unless you're playing survival, you won't see it at all. But it is a awesome trade-off system.
Yeah.
Wellness, exhaustion, hunger, and thirst are important, as they were in New Vegas.
Yeah.
I don't think they build up as quickly. And they're also very much more. I don't remember like the downsides of them. The downsides are pretty.
The downsides can be bad, but they don't build up as much as normal. But something they don't even have on this list is using chems will like increase hunger and thirst and stuff. So if you start spamming tons of chems, they get built up more.
Oh wow, yeah, it doesn't.
Yeah, which is another thing. Like literally, the wiki is missing some of the things, and we're like halfway down the list. There's so much stuff still added.
So, and antibiotics are added to survival mode as well to gain from first aid boxes and stuff like that, and you get diseases. Diseases were just thrown in with
some of which
survival
are really
mode.
bad.
Yeah,
like weakness, I think it's called, makes you take like 25% more damage or something.
Yeah,
and
this is what I was talking about. New Vegas would benefit from.
Yeah,
they just put it up as diseases instead. And you can get these diseases from particular enemies, from sleeping on dirty mattresses. Like, even sleeping can give you a disease. Like, it does not pull punches, and I love it. Healing radiation. Radaway induces fatigue and vulnerability to illness. So, like, if you want to get rid of your rads, you're susceptible. You have a nerfed immune system at the time, so you could get a disease to replace your radiation damage that you took. So you have to consider that too.
And radiation damage in Fallout 4, remember, takes a chunk off your health bar. So it's constantly, even like a little bit of radiation is bad for you. So you're having to kind of toss up, do I want to be more likely to get a disease and be more fatigued, or am I willing to sacrifice this little bit of health? How bad's that going to go? It's a great little balancing. God, I love it.
Yeah. And restorative items recover HP at a reduced rate or over time, kind of like they did in New Vegas. Ammunition has weight. Safe carry weight is significantly reduced for both the Soul Survivor and companions. Let's see. Crippled limbs do not auto heal. Must be healed by a stim pack or by a doctor. See, that one was different. Wait, can you? You can heal. Yeah, you can heal crippled limbs with the stim pack.
Yeah.
In Fallout 4 survival.
Yeah, but obviously stim packs are a bit more rare to come come across way a decent bit as well. So it's
Yeah.
a bit more challenging. It means you can't just be
Yeah.
spamming your stim packs in combat like you might normally want to do. You might want to save a few of them so you've not got a crippled limb.
I didn't know about the workshop one, but the overencumbrance, when you're over carry capacity, you'll actually start taking damage too. For a while, I was over capacity. I was wearing power armor, and as soon as I stepped out, both of my ankles broke.
Yeah, it can cripple your limbs as well, which is a really bad thing.
Which was freaking great. I'll take that L, man, because I shouldn't be grabbing all the stuff I see. Makes you consider all the things that you're doing. And companions, they don't die in Fallout 4.
No.
In survival mode, unfortunately. But they do leave your party entirely if they do go down and you leave them there.
Yeah. I do wish they died. That is one thing New Vegas definitely has over Fallout 4.
Sarge wishing death on companions.
You're the
You
one
heard it
who
here
got me
first.
to murder just an innocent vendor a couple of weeks back. Also in the
She
live
was not a
stream.
companion. There was motive there.
There may have
I
been
also paid you to do it.
You did. I literally got paid to murder an NPC. It was great.
It's like going to the lunchroom and being like, "Hey, I'll give you $1
Yeah.
if you eat this."
I mean, I was legitimately the kid who would eat stuff for money. There was like a slice of pizza on top of the vending machine that had been at my school for years. Like that one slice of pizza, I ate it for like probably £1 or something stupid. Yeah. I was that kid. I still am that kid at Abyss.
Yeah. So I think we're both in agreement here, Sarge, that if anybody wants to play a hardcore version of Fallout, play Fallout 4 survival mode.
Yeah.
If you haven't already and you love Fallout 4, you need to play survival mode or at least give it a chance because it creates a whole new level of play. And whenever I go back to Fallout 4 now, kind of like New Vegas, where I have hardcore on by default, I have survival on by default for Fallout 4 because there's no other way to play it for me now.
Yeah, it is so good.
Even when I started playing it in VR, I was like, survival mode, let's go. It's before I even knew how to play it in VR.
It forces you to play it differently to how you can just easily do things. Like, I just, on this previous run, have got into manufacturing. Because that, turns out, is quite a good way for me to get the resources I want, where normally I just I'll just run to Diamond City and buy some stuff because I can make tons of money and stuff. No,
Yeah.
I have to think about it differently. God, it's so good. For anyone who also thinks Fallout 4 isn't such a great Fallout game, they made it too casual and stuff. If you've still got the game, try out survival mode and see if it changes your opinion.
Yeah. See how casual it feels.
Yeah. 'Cause suddenly it's
if you try to go to Corvega at level 5.
Yeah.
And all the raiders are just like, oh, weird. What's this little guy doing down here? What's this? Oh, Molotovs.
Yep.
I waited to go to Corvega till I was level 15 or something like that.
I went to Corvega the stream before last, I think.
Yeah.
Haven't gone inside yet, but cleared the exterior.
It's going inside. It's freaking death sentence.
Yeah. I will say I'm very proud of how I did on the exterior though. I cleared that like a pro.
Yeah, you did a very good job.
Yeah, it's like textbook how you should do it.
And also avoiding the guy with the fat man. That's
Yeah.
that's important.
I mean, that can kill you still on the normal game, but
here's something I wish though.
yeah.
Out of all the challenge modes here, you'll never get the experience that you had the first time you played Fallout 4 or any Fallout game.
No.
What I wish is that survival mode was an option from the start, from the very beginning of when Fallout 4 came out, because that would dramatically change so many people's perspective on the quality of just these minor gameplay changes that make survival important, and make it feel like an actual post-apocalypse.
Yeah.
Man, that would make it. I mean, Fallout 4 was rated pretty highly, at least by gaming journalists. Take those with a grain of salt, of course. And preference is a thing, but a lot of people in the community were a lot of the glaring issues that kind of overshadowed everything else that's good. about Fallout 4, and survival mode is one of those main things.
Yeah.
But it's too bad it came out late.
Yeah.
But if you have that itch, yeah, try survival mode for real.
Yeah.
And if you have played survival mode, in the comments, please tell us how your experience has been. Where was your first death? That's what I want to know. Where and when was your first death in survival mode? Was it as soon as you exited the vault? Like, walking into Concord.
Concord, yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Walking into Concord and getting gunned down immediately.
Yeah. Once again, if you want to watch this, I'll be streaming it, like, probably at the time you're listening to this, so feel free to take a look. But early on, people were like, oh, why aren't you saving Preston? Why aren't you doing that right now? I'm like, because I've literally just left the vault and I don't have a sniper rifle yet and I'm going to get killed if I go there. Sure, it's the first mission you're supposed to do, but no, do not do that first when you go into survival mode.
Nope.
No, do not risk it.
Do not.
God. Survival.
Okay. Yeah, so that's pretty much it on the Fallout topic. I didn't have anything else to add.
No.
And we're hitting the 2 hour mark.
We are.
Surprisingly quickly. So I started salty and now I feel a lot better now that I've been talking to my buddy Sarge, which is nice. You know, if you feel salty about a game, let's go hang out with a buddy for a while.
Yeah.
You know, it does well. Talk about something different. Sometimes depressing topics, but it can still distract you from or get rid of that salt that you're feeling.
Something I want to see in the entire gaming community as a whole is just focus more on the stuff you do enjoy, leave the stuff you don't enjoy behind.
Don't give the things attention that you don't think deserve it.
Yeah.
There's a good quotable.
See, I was going with more of a positive tone on my one.
Yeah. Well, that's still positive.
Yeah.
It's don't waste your time. That's all I'm saying. Don't waste your time on things that make you angry when you could be spending that time doing things you like.
Yeah. Speaking of things we like, what have you been playing and working on, Caedo?
Working. Okay, so as some people may have noticed, I have a 10 plus things I wish I knew about Phoenix Point. So obviously I've been playing a crap ton of Phoenix Point after getting the review copy from the ever so gracious Snapshot Games. Their marketing manager, I forget, his name escapes me. Thank you. If you're listening to this, I doubt it. But what I've also been playing is Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition came out. I don't know if we talked about it the last PIPCAST, but I played it a little bit with Sven. It was a lot of fun. It still remains a lot of fun. The campaigns are brutally hard. The Babylon campaign, and I was getting stomped so hard. So I stopped playing that and instead switched to Phoenix Point. Been playing Deep Rock Galactic deep dives. Did a deep dive with Nelsar. Those are really fun. They're like 3 missions in sequence, and you get better cumulative rewards as you go.
Oh, cool.
But of course, they're much more difficult than your standard missions. They have like low oxygen modifier where you have to be next to either a supply drop or the mule, which is where you put all your resources to recover your oxygen, and then if you go off to dig some, your oxygen slowly decreases. It's a cool little addition. Yeah. The devs of Deep Rock Galactic are so hyper aware of like their community and what makes their game good. I hope they continue doing this because Deep Rock Galactic is so much fun. Speaking of looter shooters, like Borderlands 3 that are a blast. Sarge told me like it's not really his thing, but if you like dwarves in space, drinking, yelling rock and stone, and killing space bugs like Starship Troopers, and digging holes and stuff with friends, it's a lot of fun. And of course, Borderlands 3. We played Borderlands 3, Sarge.
Yeah, we played a lot of it.
So, what do you play?
Well, as well as Borderlands 3, I've obviously been playing 76, because I've been working on lots of stuff. If you are interested in going back into 76, or are still playing 76, I've been covering it, because I continue to do so. And with a free weekend coming up, I figure I should put a bit more time into covering it as well. But on top of that, I've been getting into some other games just for fun, namely Sniper Ghost Warrior 3 and Destiny 2. Now, Sniper Ghost Warrior is a snipey game, and a ghosty game, and a warrior game. Best thing I found about it so far is I've been doing one mission where you basically infiltrate this place, kill some people and stuff, but the optional objective is to not kill any scientists. And I've been trying to do that, but I've been learning about all the different ways you can just kind of accidentally kill people in the game whilst doing that. My favourite, I posted to Twitter, is I was trying to lure the scientists out, and they were completely ignoring me. I think like the AI glitched or something. So I started throwing rocks around one of them. Oh, I say rocks, pebbles, tiny pebbles. Then I threw a pebble into the guy's back, like 3 times, and he falls down dead and starts bleeding, and I fail the optional objective. Great
That's
fun,
funny.
but I'm having to take a bit of a break, because I've done that mission 4 times now, and every single time I've accidentally killed a scientist.
That's so great.
Yep, so I've taken a break from that. Played Destiny 2, which I picked up for free on Steam, and god is it a good game.
Yeah.
It's just great. If you want to shoot stuff and have really solid shooting in sci-fi, go for it.
I'm glad it turned out good.
Yeah. It's
Given time.
Yeah.
And
it turns out
Bungie,
these big shared open world things you have to give a lot of time to before they hit their stride.
And Bungie separating from Activision, right?
Yeah, that was a little while back.
Helped a lot.
Yeah, well now it's on like Steam and stuff instead of Activision's launcher. But I had it for free on Activision's launcher because they gave it away as well at a different point. But now I've started it up again. And it's a lot of fun. It's just a solid shooter. There's a lot of people I know who cover and like play Destiny 2 very hardcore. I have put like 10 hours into it on Steam over the past month or so. And I can say as well, you can play it casually. If you don't want to get really heavy into it, you don't have to. Which I approve of. I like just being able to maybe do like a strike a few times a week, just jump into a few public events, do like a campaign mission here and there. It's very good for the casual experience, as well as those people who are grinding to like max light level or whatever.
Yeah, that's kind of how Deep Rock is for me and Nelsar and Kite.
Yeah.
It's one of those just like I think last time Nelsar I spoke to him, he was like, hey, you want to chat while I'm playing Red Dead 2? And I was like, sure. So we start up a call, and he was like, dude, I've been playing Deep Rock. And I was like, no way, me too. And he was like, yeah, it's just like the right amount of time right before I go to work.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, the mission average is like 20 minutes or something like that.
Yeah.
Where it makes it really easy. And they have like weekly missions where you get some pretty good rewards, so...
Yeah. Having games where you can just dedicate a very small amount of time to is great. I know, a game I've not put on this list, but Magic Arena, I often play that when I'm cooking, so I just do a quick match whilst the oven's heating up or something. Before the PIPCAST recorded, I had a quick match as well, because Caedo, you were off doing some Phoenix Point stuff and so on. I was just like, yeah, I'll just play a quick match.
Being salty.
Yeah, I dominated the enemy with my Golgari deck.
Yep.
Bring it, everyone.
Yep.
Anyway, it is probably time to wrap up the PIPCAST, because we've been going for a couple of hours now. We want to, as always, thank you all very much for listening. If you do like the PIPCAST and enjoy it, think for a second, do I know anyone else who might enjoy listening to these two talk about video games and stuff? And if you do, tell them about the PIPCAST. Get more people in here, get everyone listening. Good stuff might happen. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know how to do like good titles for thumbnails for newsy junk either. Like
boobs.
I'm not
boobs are how you do it. That's totally how it works.
You don't want to do misleading thumbnails either, Sarge.
No.
Well, it's not misleading now that you said boobs. So
yeah.
Okay.
Now we can just put boobs everywhere in the title, thumbnail, description, all the tags.
I couldn't. I could not.
I will say on that note, if you do appreciate the fact that Caedo and I do not go for clickbait and misleading, and we both try and keep things to the point and relevant and all of that good stuff, please do promote our channels a bit as well and stay invested in them. Because I'm not going to start battering people who do go for the more leading stuff, because there's obvious reasons why it gets more clicks. But if you don't like that stuff, make sure to support the people, not just Caedo and I as well, but anyone you know who basically gives you what it says on the tin. Because that's a very rare thing these days.
Yep, it is. And even though I caved and started doing list videos, it's still not, misleading with my thumbnail images. The things on the images are included in in the items that are listed.
Yeah.
Which I, don't intend on changing at all, because I don't like lying to get people to click on videos. I don't want to end on that.
No. So there's a point where we're supposed to just say, you can find us here, here, and here, but I feel like we need a bit of just a sentence in between that.
Okay. Links to all the stuff related to subscribing and supporting on Patreon and all that good stuff for both myself and Bad Company Sarge are in the description if you feel like supporting us in that way. If not, you just being here is a gift, and we appreciate you. And I hope you have a wonderful next 2 weeks. Hey, it's the holidays. We're going to have a special Christmas something or other in 2 weeks. I don't know what that's going to be.
Yeah, feel free to leave in the comments if there's anything Christmassy you want to see in the Pipcast, because I'm just about ramping up for Halloween, I feel, on my internal body clock.
Yeah. Anyway, all of you, take care of yourselves. We'll see you in 2 weeks.